Prodigy is a newer character who also happened to be one of the newest recruits to the main X-Men team at the last Hellfire Gala. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. He made his first appearance back in the 2003 New Mutants series in issue number 4, and would go on to join up with the new X-Men, become a leader for the younger X-Men on Utopia, serve as a member of the Young Avengers, and eventually come back around to Krakoa, serving as a member of X-Factor before eventually getting elected to join the X-Men, just in time for the roster to be brutally destroyed. Prodigy is known as David Lane. He is cool, but honestly pretty squishy. His mutant powers allow him to subconsciously absorb the knowledge and skills of those around him while they are in his vicinity. He did, however, gain back past knowledge he'd had at one point thanks to the Stepford Cuckoos, which ended up elevating him to super genius status, putting him on a similar level to some of the most brilliant minds in all of the Marvel Universe. Who do you think is the smartest person in the Marvel Universe, by the way? Let us know down in the comments. Also, stick around to the end of this video because I got a crazy thing I'm gonna tell you about. It's crazy, trust me. Most people would never think of Ms. Marvel inherently when they think of X-Men. Until, maybe, now that is. Kamala was recently made an Inhuman and mutant hybrid in the comics, where after her death and resurrection, it was established that she possessed an X gene kind of long dormant, which had now been activated by her resurrection. Some folks were not fans of this change, but honestly, it is oddly more in line with the creators of the character's wishes for her when they made her. Initially, Kamala was designed with the origin of mutant in mind, but as Marvel did not have the rights for X-Men at that time, they instead wanted to make her an Inhuman as part of a push to make, the Inhumans as popular, if not more so, than the mutants. And with Kamala being established as the first mutant in the MCU, Marvel decided to change her origin in the comics as well. As such, Kamala also recently joined up with the X-Men, eager to see what her mutant power set would be when it manifested, but also struggling to process the hate that mutants deal with on a daily basis. Rasputin IV is an interesting mutant who actually has had 2 different first appearances, but both of them were pretty recent. Technically, these were different versions of the same character though. Rasputin initially appeared during Moira McTaggart's 9th life, but also appears during Sins of Sinister in an alternate timeline created by Sinister using Moira's mutant powers. While in the 9th life of Moira back in the Dawn of X days, Rasputin ends up dying, the version who exists in Sinister's created timeline from Sins of Sinister actually makes her way to Earth 616 and ends up in the main continuity, teaming up with the X-Men there. Rasputin is a chimera who is created by Sinister and who possesses as such the combined powers, abilities, and genes of Colossus, Quentin Quire's Kid Omega, Unis the Untouchable, Kitty Pryde, and Laura Kinney, aka Talon or Wolverine, whichever you prefer. Armor is the main character of the Ultimate X-Men series. She is known there simply as Hisako Ichiki, the same name as Armor's in the mainline comics. At the beginning of the series, she is set to graduate middle school, but we learn that she has not been attending class in the lead up to her graduation due to the sudden loss of her friend Tsubasa. Tsubasa was mistreated by the other students and struggled in school as a result. However, Hisako did not really know just how haunted Tsubasa was by this and was surprised when it was revealed that he'd later taken his own life. From this dark beginning, we are launched into the series and follow along with Hisako, who pulls on the thread of the origins of the mysterious being who appears to claim to avenge Tsubasa, known as Shadow or the Shadow, likely a version of the Shadow King, all while uncovering that Hisako herself has her own secret. She seems to be a mutant with superpowers that she struggles to understand and also struggles to control. Storm may have been around for a good long while in the comics, but this version of the character is completely new. She made her first appearance earlier this year in Ultimate Black Panther in issue number 1. Here, Aurora Monroe is a mutant with power over the elements known as Wind Rider. She fights against Khonshu and Ra alongside her partner and her lover, Killmonger. However, while Wind Rider is with Killmonger here, there is a prophecy involving her that tells of her destiny to deliver the heir to Wakanda seemingly alongside the King T'Challa. So we'll have to see how that goes. Maystorm is my favorite, I think, of the new Ultimate X-Men characters. Maystorm is clearly inspired by Storm, but really does seem to be her own character. She actually first appeared as one of the new Champions variant covers that we got, appearing on the cover of X-Men issue number 27, where she was drawn and designed by Peach Momoko. As part of that project, May was created to basically be a Storm protege. All the variants were designed as such, with younger takes on characters being showcased, so we can imagine what sort of sidekick for said character would be like. I think that's what I like most about May. While inspired by Storm, she also feels fully original in terms of her characterization, and is a very different person from the original Storm from the comics. Doubly so in May's case, who exists in the same universe as Ultimate Earth 616 6160 Storm, aka Wind Rider, but who, like I said, is, I just feel, very different. When it comes to Ultimate X-Men issue number 3, we actually get to meet a few new and exciting characters. Chiefly among the new mutants that we're meeting here are a group who also seem to be mutants, but who are not connected to Maystorm or even to armor. Other than the fact that, I guess, well, they all happen to be in the same class. I wonder if also them being in the same class is by someone's design. Among this group is Mori. Mori is believed to be a mutant, but it's still very early days in terms of the mystery of her character and that of Ultimate X-Men in general, to be honest. When it comes to Mori, she appears to be an alternate version of Molly Hayes, which would make sense considering some of the other characters featured here and their mainline connection to the Runaways team. In the main continuity, Molly's mutant power is that she has super strength, and she's actually considered even to be one of the strongest characters in Marvel. With Mori, we're not as certain of her powers or if she's really even an alternate version of Molly just yet, but of course time will tell. If she is Molly, I gotta say I am loving the Runaways inspiration that seems to be kind of mixed in throughout here. For some reason, Natsu gives me Kitty Pryde vibes, but it's actually believed that she might be an alternate to Scott Summers' Cyclops in the Ultimate X-Men series and universe of Earth 6160. People suspect this of Natsu because of her name, which means summer, as in, you know, summers perhaps, and because she has one red eye, which is concealed by an eye patch. Some have also compared her character design to that of Scott's, seeing some similarities and cues even in the tracksuit that she wears here, which people are likening to Scott's look. Natsu just made her first appearance, so we'll have to wait and see what role she will play in this very different X-Men series and team. This is a really interesting one. Nico Minaru of Earth 6160 makes her first appearance in Ultimate X-Men issue number 3, and seems to vary quite a bit from her Earth 616 main continuity counterpart, while also bearing some similarities there. Now in the main line, Nico is known for being a human who was born into a family of dark magic users who regularly performed ritual sacrifices. She ends up joining up with the Runaways and decides to rebel against her parents' plans for her, instead becoming a hero and force for good. In Ultimate, however, she instead seems to be another mutant who can detect others. At least that's what seems to be implied here. She also seems to have a magical air about her, and it's rumored that her parents are also tied to the supernatural in some way. So it's possible this version of Nico could be a magic user and a mutant as well. I mean, it definitely feels like it's a variation on the character. What's so interesting about Surge in Ultimate X-Men is that we don't really know what her motivation is or who she is working for yet, if anyone. She might just be doing her own thing. All we know is that Surge in this reality seems to be interested in exposing mutants, or at least one mutant out there in particular, and that is Hisako, who we know better in terms of her main continuity counterpart as Armor. That being said, it seems that Surge herself is a mutant, likely inspired by the mutant of the same name in the comics. Like her 616 counterpart, she seems to be able to harness the power of electricity, but unlike her 616 counterpart, this version of Surge seems to kind of have a better initial handle on her powers, not seemingly needing the gauntlets we're used to seeing her with in regards to her 616 version. I honestly can't wait to see what else we can learn about Surge as time goes on, and if she herself will get her own issue focused solely on her, kinda like how we had with May as well. Thank you so much for watching. This will be my last video at Top 10 Nerd. For now, you can find me over at my own YouTube channel, VampX13, or you can just search Amanda McKnight, and honestly, it should come up. I also stream over on Twitch under the same username, VampX13. Honestly, this has been a wild ride, and while this is goodbye for now, please do keep an eye on this channel. I may be back now and then to do a video or two, because I know I am going to miss it a lot. I've had an amazing time just working with the entire nerd team, and have met so many fantastic nerdy and non-nerdy individuals during my 5+ years here on the channel and with the company. Thank you so much to everyone I've worked with, the whole nerd crew, and everyone who also works behind the camera to help us create this content. Like you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. It's been a long time. A lot goes into this, but I also just want to say a massive thank you to you, the people on the other side of this screen, our nerd squad, with whom honestly none of this would be possible, and honestly without you guys I wouldn't be a content creator today. So thank you so much for watching, and for the last time, at least for now, you stay nerdy, YouTube.